Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a simple paper cut project that you can make at home. So let's just get right into it. Before we get started, I would just like to say that I do have a Patreon up with templates of my work. I have a template for the Starry Night lightbox, for the Horse Bridge lightbox, for the Manta Ray lightbox, and for a new addition that you guys voted for, I have the Great Wave lightbox. So if you're interested in my templates or you just want to support me, head over to my Patreon to check them out. Thank you, now back to the video. I had this idea that I could make a project with a lot of stark shading and shadows. I thought it could be cool to have a scene with some kind of really strong light source, and everything within the light source is visible and then everything outside is really dark and not visible at all. So I decided to create this scene. I made a sketch for it off screen because I was just doodling and I came up with this idea. But the basic idea was that this giant wolf would ambush a person under the street lamp, and then you could just see the eyes and the very few highlights of the wolf's body, and then the person in the street lamp would be really lit up. So that's what we're working on today. Since I had already sketched out a drawing, I just transferred it over to a sheet of cardstock. Then for the pure black night, I decided to go into a sharpie because it can be really dark and you can layer it. And I like sharpies over like black paint because it's a lot less messy and really easy to just work with. So I filled in the whole background with the black sharpie. Then for the details, I decided I wanted the outside half of the tail, the outside half of the legs, the back of the body, and everything outside the lamplight to be pitch black. So I sketched out where I wanted the shadows and highlights to lay, and I filled in all the areas with black. But I thought it could be a really fun idea that if you hold it against a light, you can still see the shape of the wolf, it's like revealed. And then I thought that it could be cool to have the whole body of the wolf be revealed if you hold it against the light. So I cut out the outside edge of the wolf with my knife. I might have explained that weirdly, but you will see in the end what I'm talking about. And I continued until I colored in all of the dark spots. Then I go in and I cut out the section of the light because I am going to use sketching paper and tracing paper to create the light areas. I will layer up using sketching paper to create darker areas. So while I'm working on this, let me share a simple short little story that my sister made for this project. It was too dark outside the smudgy window of the third floor apartment, and Alex's boyfriend had not come back. For the past 2 days, she tried desperately to ignore her growing anxiety as she paced around the room. She had always been a nervous person, so it had always been difficult for her to distinguish real danger from a story in her imagination. However, Freddie was not the kind of person to run off, so his sudden disappearance worried her. She couldn't stand staying here anymore. Her heart hammered violently as she stepped through the door of the dingy, run-down apartment. The air inside the stairwell was cold, dimly lit, and infused with the smell of mold. There were lights hanging from the ceiling, so it should not have been as dark as it was. However, they were on their last leg, flickering in an irritating way as they fought desperately not to die. Alex's knees gave a little bounce as she stepped on every step in the creaking flight of stairs. It was an extremely empty and lonely night, the kind on which one could easily get murdered and no one would even hear a scream. Straining her eyes against the overwhelming darkness, Alex craned her neck as she rounded a corner, hoping to catch a glimpse of Freddie hurrying towards her amongst the shadows. The dim street was void of any trace of his presence. She was all alone, in the dark night, wrapping her arms around her. She shivered. The very essence of the darkness around her seemed to seep into her soul and make her feel small and scared. She took a few tiny steps forward, then she felt it, the sticky substance under her boot. She looked down and saw the dark splatter of blood across the bricks. To her despair, it was everywhere. Her eyes followed dark smears and streaks as they snaked and zigzagged across the street until they came to rest at the foot of a street lamp. Upon the sight, she stumbled back, but the thought of Freddie overcame her, and she pushed towards the gnarly sight. Even though she tried to approach cautiously, she couldn't stop the heels of her boots from tapping as she rushed down the street. As she stepped into the pool of light, a horrible scene met her eyes. A huge pool of blood was seeping into the cracks of the street. Decorating the street next to it, like some gory painting, were the clawed marks of a desperate hand. In the dying grass by the lamppost, she noticed a bloodied watch glistening. She recognized it as Freddie's. Her vision swam with tears, and the very next moment, a terrible noise that made her blood run cold reached her ears. The sound of a low growl grew from the darkness, and she could hear soft pattering steps approach. Her head twitched back and forth as she tried to locate the approaching threat, just to be painfully blinded by the street light. She felt a foul, steaming breath against her neck, and she spun around. The wolf was huge and mean-looking. It used the impenetrable darkness to cloak itself, so Alex was only able to see its lamp-like yellow eyes hovering above her. Even though its paws were as big as boulders, it stalked closer, and as it pounced at her, it was utterly silent. As the monster came barreling towards her with its hackles raised and its dagger-like teeth bared, Alex tucked her head between her legs and screamed. So there you go, that was the story my sister came up with. I really like it. I think it adds to this creepy little scene I have. But now back to the video. For the woman named Alex standing in the middle of the light, I decided to give her a long flowy dress, mainly because I don't know how to draw people well, so that's kind of an easy way to do it. So I gave her long flowing hair and a long flowing dress. So I just cut her out and glued her in place, and here is the finished piece. Now this isn't a light box, so I wasn't exactly sure how to display this, but here it is just as the drawing itself, not against any light. I think it looks really nice, but I think it really shines when you hold it up against the light, because then you can see all those details. And here's what I'm talking about. You can see this outline of the wolf's whole body cut out when it's against the light, but when it's not, you don't see that at all. But yeah, I tried out a bunch of different kinds of lights, and here's the finished product. This was super simple, and you could totally make this by yourself at home. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out my Patreon if you're interested in templates, and I will see you next time. Bye!